I'm very pleased with this one. What do you think? Anyway, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Your life before becoming a gladiator was simple, peaceful even. You grew up on a small farm outside a village, helping your father grow grain, care for livestock, and mend the nets used to catch fish in the Tiber River. The best part of your days was spent watching your father fight with wooden swords against the men in your village. Everyone waiting for the annual summer solstice festival where the winner got to choose a prize from the harvest, they fought fiercely and laughed loudly. Though your father always lost to the baker because he had such a thick bottom that it deflected the blows, winning him more cheers than actual victories. Then one evening, a band of soldiers arrived at your door, rousing you from sleep. They told you and your family to pack only what you could carry and to go with them. You begged your father to give you some of the fishnets, so you could fight and defend yourself. He shook his head, his face sad and drawn. You and your mother said your goodbyes. Your sister clung to her, weeping and screaming. Your father squeezed your shoulder and handed you a small wrapped bundle. May it help you if you need it, he said gruffly, unable to look at your mother for too long. The journey was long and uncomfortable. The carts you rode in swayed and bumped along the dirt roads. Guards yelled at you if you made a move to escape, and the soldiers saw that you were too young to serve in the legions. They tossed you into the same cart as a collection of other boys about your age. They slapped you if you didn't stay quiet or huddle close together. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the cart came to a stop. The soldiers untied your wrists and shoved you off the cart. You found yourself in a square surrounded by towering buildings. The cart driver cursed you and the other boys to leave, pushing you away from the road. You stared at the gray sky, unsure of what to do. One of the older boys stepped forward, his voice trembling slightly. "It's Rome," he whispered. "We're slaves now." Over the next few days, you learned the ways of the slave market. Here, the strongest boys went to work as laborers. Weaker ones became peddlers or servants. Skinny ones ended up as prostitutes or worse. You tried to look inconspicuous, hoping that someone would buy you and put you to work rather than throw you into the fighting pits, but your fate was sealed. The minute you entered the slave market, merchants began to circle you, sizing you up like an animal. Their eyes were sharp, calculating. None of them seemed to see you as anything more than property. One merchant clapped you on the shoulder, his eyes twinkling behind his oily smile. "And you, my boy, you look like a fighter. How much do you think we can get for him?" he asked the bald, muscular man walking beside him. "Maybe 5 denarii, the muscular man replied casually. "Put him in the pits. I don't care if he lives or dies." A few minutes later, you were marched to a large pit. In the middle of a Colosseum, you watched in horror as 2 emaciated men tore into each other. One landed a fatal blow, and the other fell down dead. The crowd roared, spilling blood and a mixture of other bodily fluids, splattering onto the sand. Then it happened. A middle-aged man dressed in fine robes stood up from his seat. He held up his hand and the fight stopped. Another he demanded. "I want to see a new one." "It's the man closest to you," pushed you forward, hiding his face behind you. "Go," he hissed, and may Jupiter be with you. The crowd parted as you slowly walked down the steps leading into the pit. Fear coursed through your body. This was the moment you dreaded. Everyone in the stands stared at you, waiting for you to do something to entertain them. Then you saw a man standing at the edge of the pit. He signaled to you. You hesitantly approached him. "Are you scared?" You nodded. He smiled kindly and introduced himself as your trainer. "Don't worry, boy. We'll teach you everything you need to know." He turned to the crowd. "Is it ready for the main event?" The crowd cheered. You knew you were about to enter the ring. The roaring of the crowd was deafening. Taking a deep breath, you closed your eyes and jumped. When you opened your eyes, you were standing in a luxurious house. It was different from the homes you had seen in the villages. The walls were decorated with paintings. Furniture was exquisitely crafted. A handsome man with a neat trimmed beard greeted you. "Welcome to our house, Gaius," he said, taking your arm and guiding you to a chair. "Here you will learn what it means to be Roman." Over the next few weeks, you learned many things. Under the guidance of the handsome man, you trained with various weapons, including a dagger called a pugio, which was perfect for throwing, and a short sword known as a gladius. You also learned how to fence with a wooden shield and a helmet that protected your entire head. The headmaster taught you the art of war and strategy. You studied tactics and formations, learning how to fight as part of a team. You trained under former generals who shared their knowledge of battlefield maneuvers. At night, you slept in a dormitory with the other students. Conversations buzzed around you as boys from all over the Roman Empire discussed their families, their homelands, and their ambitions. Some wanted to become consuls, the highest elected officials in Rome. Others desired to be senators, holding immense power and wealth. A few dreamed of conquering faraway lands as emperors. You, though, felt a sense of dread, knowing that someday you would have to return to the slave market and face the reality that most gladiators died within the first year of fighting. You wondered, why did the headmaster offer you a place in his academy? Was it because he saw something in you that others didn't? Or was he just being kind? On the morning of your final lesson, you found the headmaster alone in the courtyard. His face was somber. "Gaius," he began, "you are the most talented student I've ever trained. But talent doesn't guarantee survival in the fighting pits. Not everyone leaves the arena alive. So why am I here?" you asked. "Why have you put me through all this training? Why did you save me from the slave market?" The headmaster sighed and looked down at his feet. "You are here to remind us why we must be strong," he finally said. "And I will tell you the truth, my boy. I saw potential in you, a potential for greatness that others didn't see. But it was a gamble, one that you now need to repay." He paused. "If you show weakness or fear in the arena, you will die. If you disappoint me, you will die. Understand?" You looked into his eyes and nodded. "What about after the arena?" you asked. "What happens if I survive?" The headmaster smiled, his face crinkling at the corners. "If you win 3 matches, you will be free," he said. "Rome will remember your name." Now that you were ready, you were taken to the slave market to be sold to the highest bidder. You stood among the other captives, your heart pounding. Once a merchant clapped you on the back, you were led into the bustling marketplace. People stopped and stared, discussing you in hushed tones. Then a tall, well-dressed man approached and motioned for you to follow him. As you walked away from the crowd, you realized that he was leading you towards a magnificent mansion. It was unlike any building you had ever seen before, with marble pillars and intricate statues adorning its facade. When you entered the courtyard, you saw the most beautiful woman you had ever laid eyes on. She wore a flowing white dress that accentuated her delicate features and graceful posture. "This is my daughter Cornelia," the man said. "She will oversee your training. Make her proud and you will fight in the great Colosseum." You bowed your head in respect and nodded. That's all for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time.